Let's take a moment to ground ourselves in. So, inviting you to take a few breaths just to feel into yourself, letting go of whatever's going on, just allowing yourself to come into this space. So, taking a moment to breathe. As you're breathing, I invite you to notice and ask your mind, body, and soul, and all aspects of yourself to be willing to receive and share, to accept, trust, and believe, to claim some ownership. Invite yourself to step into the power of the I am open with no expectations, no limitations, and recognize that the power of the I am creating my own outcome. With that, I invite you to look all around you, feel the seeds, the tools, the seeds that you were gifted through this gift giveaway. And as they are nurtured and the roots sink deeply into the ground, deeply into the energy field of each other, there's this beautiful awareness of prosperity in a different manner, of abundance in a different manner, in a keen awareness of just how powerful you can be. And that ultimately, whatever you're feeling on a day-to-day basis is by choice. And I really welcome you to recognize that, because when you recognize that it's a choice that you're making, you also can begin to recognize that you have the power to make different choices, if that's the case, or to enhance the positive choices you're currently doing. And so it is. And I would like to invite my first guest speaker, the beautiful Jenny Treurnich. I'm going to read her bio, first of all. And I want to speak to her about this. I'm so very excited. She worked part-time as an energy healer for years, connecting with angels and exploring various healing modalities in a continual search for deeper answers and transformative tools. Her primary income, however, came from a work that left her feeling uninspired and trapped, as if she was stuck on a giant hamster wheel. Who hasn't heard that before or felt that before, right? Everything changed when she made the bold decision to align what she does with who she truly is. Now she supports women who feel stuck, whether in their work, lives, or sense of self, to move beyond the frustration, fear, and uncertainty to live the lives they truly want. Like I said, I'm really, really excited right now to speak to you, Jenny, because I saw a post of yours that was like, oh, you're my kind of people. And it was your post about awareness. And if for those of you who caught the entire grounding that I just did there, the the post that you did on awareness really struck home for me because it is recognizing that the awareness comes from a deeper level. So maybe can you, before you start to talk about what your beautiful gift is, I think it's really important for people to really understand the things that I was saying in that grounding about the choices that we have, that we're walking in awareness, that we have the ability to make a lot of big changes in our lives. Ultimately, all those changes in how we feel on a day-to-day basis is within ourselves, though. So can you maybe explain, first of all, what you were bringing across with that post and what your take is on awareness? Thank you, Jenny.
Well, first of all, hi, Sandra. It's really amazing being here and talking to you again and to everyone. And thank you for inviting me. Um, are you referring to the post about present moment awareness that I did? Right.
Yes.
Yeah, it's one of those things that always sounds so simple and everybody knows about it already, but it's really quite profound. Many people don't realize how powerful it is because any moment that we're not in the actual present moment taking in our lives, that's the edge where we are creating, where we are co-creating our lives. Whereas it's it's actually quite difficult to stay in that space, especially with all the distractions and things going on. So we tend to be in our past, be in our immediate future, like what have I got to do next, be in our far future, and we're jumping the whole time between these things. It's almost like we're in different time streams, and we're missing the moment where the creation happens. So that taking the time to really notice what's around us and to feel that and be present is a really fundamental shift. And it's actually difficult for people. The simple things are, yeah, it's what's the word I'm looking for? It seems easy, but it's actually not necessarily so.
You know,
Deception. Yeah.
I want to expand. Sorry, thank you for letting me interrupt you. I want to expand a little bit on this because, on one hand, your I love what you're expressing about this and the fact that it isn't easy. Again, it comes down to choices, right? And you know, like I've been working with people for a lot of years, and there are those who get it like this, and there are those who are years attempting to get it.
Mm.
The thing is when you start to make the decision that I want something, it starts with that, I
There
think.
is such power in a decision, Sandra, that you're right. It's an energetic shift of a decision. And also, I think, well, I don't think I know, with the new energy that's around now, things are quick. We can make shifts so quickly now. The time for analyzing things to death, layer by layer and dropping. There's certain things still to be worked through, sure. But in this new energy, we can drop things really, really quickly. Often it takes somebody else looking in and we need help with identifying those patterns that are really holding us back and what's below those patterns. So it's not always things we can identify ourselves. There are certain things that it's really good to have help with. But once those patterns are really identified and we get it and we've observed them and seen how they play out in our lives, times are moving, energy is moving, and we can drop things. And part of it is a decision. And yeah, for me, can I ramble on a little or?
Yes.
Okay. Um, a big thing for me is stepping into soul alignment and helping people do that. So the first part is really feeling that calling, that pull to be something more, whether you identify that as coming from God or source or the universe or whatever resonates with you, but that feeling of wanting to step into being more on purpose, living more on purpose, living in alignment with your values and what brings you joy. And so the kind of step one is really feeling that. And I think so many of us are feeling that now with it, people are changing so quickly. They are feeling this new energy. So it's feeling that calling, finding those patterns, usually with some help, and releasing them. And then the thing with stepping into soul alignment is we have to take that step before we're ready and not wait for everything to line up. To take that step and embody the knowing and the certainty, and then take that step.
Yeah. You know what I really find magical, Jenny, is again, I say that when I was reading your posts, I can just feel the alignment that you and I have. And I really want people to pay attention over this 5 days or five speakers. We're giving 5 years worth of information in five speakers. Truly, I think what you said there about things are happening quickly is so very, very valuable. There's going to be key words that you'll hear all the guest speakers saying. And I think that is one of the pieces that you'll recognize where you personally, as an individual, those who are listening, will recognize where you're at because we're saying words like align, we're saying words like feel, we're saying words like step into. And also, too, we're starting to say words like it's simple, it's easy steps,
Yeah.
it's decision, make a decision. I also add a few more words, and you may hear these same words with the guest speakers. It's old habits and new habits.
Yeah.
So, would you like to speak to a little bit about that?
Um, well, old habits are just that. It's things we're used to doing, right? Nothing else. It's well-worn pathways in our brain. We do things because we've always done them. And some of that is really unconscious. We're not taking time, or many people, and all of us to some extent, we're taking the time to really look at what am I doing and why am I doing that? Do I need to still be doing that thing? Can I let go of that? Can I do it differently? I think just with the power of introspection and taking notice and then seeing it comes back to that soul alignment thing and feeling the truth in your body, because you can look at anything, you can apply that to anything, right? So if you're looking at old patterns and habits, old habits and new habits, does this feel right in my body? Is this aligned with what I want, with my vision, with what I'm creating and where I want to go? Does that serve me, or is that an old habit that needs to go? Is this a new habit that's going to align with where I'm going? So the simple concept of reading it in your body and stepping into your soul alignment, which is also listening to your intuition and your inner guidance, you can apply that to all sorts of things and also see what to give up doing and what new habits you could form, or new behaviors that make sense for what you're trying to achieve and that bring you joy.
I,
Sometimes
I,
we do things that don't even make us happy. We're just used to doing them.
I want to speak to that because I think I want to make this a very value-packed speaking summit for everybody. One of the tools that I learned a number of years ago, and I really invite each of you to start to pay attention on your day-to-day basis, every hour. Write down, if it's at the end of the day, write down all the things that you've done during the day, and then give them a number. Give them a number between 0 and 10 and look at how your day is filled out. 0 being something you absolutely detest. Number 10 being, oh my gosh, I can't believe that happened kind of energy. And see where your day is sitting. When you put them all together and then you divide by how many numbers you have, that gives you your percentage. And whether you're like at a 7, if you're at a 7 and higher on a day, you are likely walking in that what we really started this topic with, that awareness, living in the moment on a moment to moment basis. And I think that is one of the powerful tools I'd like to offer as we're speaking about this. You have a gift, and I'm not cutting you short by any means. You use the word fulfillment in your gift. description, and it's also about us really starting to recognize what our purpose is. A lot of people think that their gifts and their purpose are some this big thing that's unattainable, and how do I have to figure this out? And I'm not saying that you're going to answer everybody's questions with your quiz, but you have some very powerful points in your quiz. So maybe you can just explain
Mhm.
to us a little bit more about it, please.
Sure. I just wanted to say, firstly, I love your tool that you gave out. That is so valuable because it comes back to noticing and putting our attention and our awareness on things, and also to start the day setting an intention for the day. So,
Mm.
like starting by setting the intention, and then I love that tool you gave. That's really valuable. Um, yeah, purpose is a loaded word, really, because
Mm.
people spend a lot of time searching for their purpose for this one thing out there, but our purpose isn't what we do, it's who we are. And just our being is enough. But it's also nice to bring it in a more concrete way where we're doing what lights us up and what makes us feel on purpose. So it's like a slight difference there. My quiz is basically different life areas. It encompasses different life areas, and the questions are to really get people to think about which parts of their life areas, or in what ways, are they in alignment? Are they feeling fulfilled? Do those bring them joy? Are they feeling on purpose? Or is it just a no? And sometimes things that used to bring us joy no longer do. We change, we evolve. Our values change
Yeah.
over time as we grow. So it's just to check in and see. Again, it's that noticing, putting our attention on something to notice and really see where we're at.
Can you take that a step further? I'd love to have an example, and I'm just feeling into the energy of, and notice I said the word feeling into something, right, guys? I'm feeling into the energy of where am I recognized? Like I'd love for if you could give us a concrete example so people have a better understanding of this.
Well, like the life areas, like your love relationship, your family, your work, what you do for your leisure time, um,
Hmm.
each kind of area of life. The quiz has got more detailed questions. It doesn't just put it into those areas, but essentially it's going through those different areas to see where you're aligned and just to make you think about things in a different way. Often by wording something differently or looking at it from a different angle, we can get a unique perspective on it.
I'm gonna take that. I hear me. Apparently, this is gonna be my common phrase during this. I'm gonna take that a step further. What I'm hearing and what you're saying is like the practical example that I want to give is that it is so easy to sit down and get caught up on watching TV or get caught up on reels. Like I have actually gone and wasted 4 hours of my night, my sleep
Me
time,
too.
reeling through reels, right?
Mhm.
And now I'm recognizing that I actually have the ability to turn them off and then go and find something. Like we have other guests here, and some of them have recordings that we can listen to and things like that. So going and finding something that is more proactive to be doing, if
Yeah.
that's a nighttime thing. During the day, instead of sitting down and going and watching TV, it's I'm a quilter. I have my quilt laying, like I promised my husband the other day, I'm gonna work on that honest because it's out on the living room floor right now, right? So
Yeah,
it's
I used to have various craft projects in various stages and
yeah.
paintings that are drying. And so, yeah, I get it.
Yeah, but it comes back to exactly what you're saying. It's this what are we doing with our life? Our purpose truly isn't to sit on sitting on our butt watching reels. It truly isn't.
No, it's living intentionally. So when I keep bringing it back to the soul alignment, but really everything can come back to that, because when you can, anything that you're doing, any action, is this bringing me joy? Is this taking me further along? And sometimes, we also have our human side, and we also just need to relax sometimes. And, we spiritual beings having an experience in a human body, but we are in a human body, and our human also has needs. And sometimes sometimes it is nice to just relax in different ways, but we can go down a rabbit hole and take that way too far and lose way too much of our time. And essentially, it doesn't bring us joy. We're becoming like robotic, doing these actions where bringing it back to, is this feeding my spirit? Is this lighting me up? Is this helping with my mission of where I want to go? And also part of that is I'm doing art, or I'm doing something that rests my soul and lights me up. It doesn't always have to be towards our business or towards our goal of helping others and doing things. So, we also need to fill our own cups. So, but yeah, it's being intentional with whatever those actions are, so that we don't just while away our hours. You're very
Exactly.
right. Yeah.
You said something very key there about asking yourself if this is feeding your soul. So that numbered list, the 0 to 10, is one of those lists that you're asking yourself if these all feed my soul or not, right? So taking that a step further, again, here I go with that phrase. What's the most common phrase over the entire summit, right? The uh, when you are doing something during the day, ask yourself that exact question that Jenny just posed. Is this feeding my soul right now? If it is, have at her. If it's not, there's a decision to be made, right? Yeah. I would love, if anybody has any questions, I would love people to ask them. In the meantime, here's Jenny's gift. It's available in the
Oh,
chat.
that's the wrong link.
Oh, it's the wrong link.
Sorry.
Quick, erase that.
That's the old one.
Oh my
Should I
goodness.
put the new one in? Where's the chat?
Yeah, please do put the new one in. Let me delete that one. Why is that one still in my sheet? That's too funny. You've got it handy though, hey? In the meantime, if anybody has any questions, please do reach out and raise your hand. There across the bottom, there's your react buttons. You can raise your hand there.
Yeah.
There we go. Thank you so
Nice and
much, Jen.
simple. It's basically www.myname.com, which is
Yeah,
jennytreurnich.com/gift.
yeah. I'm going to grab that and give it to them so that they can actually press it and go right to it. Bear with me here a
Oh,
moment.
right. Thanks.
Yeah.
I should have added the beginning.
Yeah, it's all right. That's okay. Does anybody have any questions?
Alan.
Go ahead.
Okay, now I got myself unmuted. Hi, Jenny. Very nice to meet you here. At one point, you were saying that trying to change ourselves can get to be hard sometimes. And I know that for an absolute fact because sometimes we don't even know what we need to change.
Mm.
I'm curious to find out, in what areas have you found that difficulty to change being more difficult than others? When should we recognize that we need to reach out to someone to find those sticking points that we can't find for ourselves?
That's actually a great question. I think it's when we start seeing the same things happening over and over. So we see the same patterns playing out, and we get ourselves into similar situations. And for many people, they think, why all these things happening? Why do I, these same situations, when, the saying we all love to use, life happens for us, which is really true. But we can't see how we are manifesting those situations because the patterns are so deeply ingrained. We're so used to them. In many cases, we've had them almost our whole lives or for decades. And so often it takes someone else looking in to really look below the surface and identify those patterns so that we can then see them and work on releasing them. And it's not always that easy either, even once we've observed them. I kind of think of it like a spiral. It's like we're moving forward, but they cycle back in some way, even if it's less of them. So it's like a remnant of that thing coming back until it's finally gone. In some cases, things can be dropped very quickly with that energy of the decision, and especially if someone has really worked through a lot of other things. And nowadays, we can actually drop multiple things at once. But some things our conscious mind really needs to get a handle on why, because it's got particular meaning for us. And other things we can literally drop, and we don't have to now go into the why and analyze it today. Sorry if that was too long. That was a long answer.
No, no, absolutely great. The only other question that I would have with that is how do you identify which things that keep coming up over and over again are things that can be changed, or as some people will say, that's just the way life is?
Mm.
Why bother changing something that's always going to be like that?
Yeah, I think thinking that's just the way life is more old energy, and we create our realities. When things keep coming around and we say you end up in the same kind of toxic relationship, or you having the same situation in a work environment, there's some underlying pattern that people are doing to create that, or some value they're placing on themselves or not value, like I'm not enough, or I'm not seen, I'm invisible, that kind of thing. And those are quite difficult to spot, and especially with women, because society, etc., over so long, over so much time, there's a lot of glass ceilings that women don't even realize they have. I'm sure some men too, but it's just there's a lot of things that need to be brought into the light and then released. And it's a process.
Yep. Very, very true. So it's definitely sounds like we should assume that everything can be changed at some
Yeah,
level.
at some level, absolutely. We are powerful co-creators, and we're powerful creators, and we're creating our reality. We are showing people how to treat us, and we are leading to our own outcomes.
Thank you so much, Alan.
Thank
Brenda.
you.
Hi, Jenny. Great to be
Hi,
here.
Brenda.
I was just wondering, so once we realize we have a belief that needs to be shifted, how exactly, in a practical way, how exactly do we do that?
Well,
Is there a process?
yeah, there is a process. It usually takes some coaching. So the process that I work with my clients is actually permission, path, and purpose. So it's first them giving themselves permission and realizing that that comes from within, and they don't need anyone to give them permission externally to create the change they want, or to have the vision that they see for themselves, that they give themselves like permission to have that. And identifying those patterns is quite a process. Um, there's a matrix of similar patterns that come up again and again. And if you listen carefully to the words people are saying and you listen to their stories, usually that comes out, and you can identify which pattern or which limiting belief is really like manifesting in their lives, and then work with them to change that. But personally, I work on conscious mind and unconscious mind aligned, because if we only make changes in the conscious mind, like setting goals or doing things like that, our conscious mind's like, yes, I really want that thing. And our unconscious mind is going, no, you can't have that thing. Are you kidding? Who are you to want that or have that? And the reverse is also true, where if we do just breath work or healing and the unconscious is moving forward, the conscious mind hasn't actually bought into that. So you've got to work on both levels for lasting change to occur and for the person to really observe those patterns in their life and see how they're playing out, and for it to sink in on a body level, not just in their minds of, oh yeah, okay, but for them to really own it as their truth. And then you can work through that and release it once they've really seen it. Once you've really seen it, you can't unsee it.
Thank you, Jenny. You made that so clear. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, let me do the spotlight thingies here. Wonderful. These are great questions. Thank you, guys. You really helped
Yeah,
everybody
I'm
to
loving
understand a
these
little deeper.
questions. These questions are beautiful.
If anybody else has a question, that would be wonderful. We're pretty well at the end of Jenny sharing with us right now. The Zoom will remain open as we wait for the next guest speaker. We do have about a half-hour break between them, give or take. In essence, people are starting on the hour. So if someone speaks longer, they speak longer. So if you have more questions, Jenny is available for a few more minutes. Is there anything else that you'd like to share in the meantime, Jenny?
I think pretty much everything got covered with those questions. I even went through my permission path and purpose. Yeah, just I think one final thing on the stepping into soul alignment, because that can be quite a scary process. And there's a lot of embodiment that needs to happen first, where we really bring in energetically our truths and our values, in that we have unshakable certainty and feel that in our bodies energetically, and then step forward. And what a lot of people wait, or they're in a waiting energy, or waiting for the signs, or waiting for someone to come and rescue them, or waiting for when this happens, or when I have the perfect partner, or when I have the promotion. But the key to stepping forward in soul alignment is stepping forward before we're ready, and doing it and trusting and listening to our intuition. And we don't need to know the whole path. You just need to know the next step, and trust your intuition and step, because you need to be in co-creation energy and in movement, not in waiting energy, sitting waiting for things to happen. So yeah, that's a really important piece, is taking the step, making the movement, and then listening, trusting, listening to your inner guidance, taking the next step, and having your vision that's pulling you forward. At least having the direction of the vision that's pulling you forward, and trusting yourself, and taking those steps.
I want to speak a little bit further on this. You'll have witnessed there are all kinds of I want to say people out there, but that's not the word that I'm going for. There are all kinds of souls out there at different aspects, and rather than levels, okay? I want to just say different aspects of what they're doing. Because when we use the human word levels, it's almost as though we put someone at a different level than us, and
Hierarchy.
we're way better than this level here. And that's not what I'm going for here at all. It's more about a different aspect of where each of us are. And it's also, as Jenny's been really pointing out here, it's about the choices, the decisions, our purpose, our fulfillment, and the vision. Like what the vision is, what you have as a vision right now is a beautiful place to start, okay? Because when you start to have a vision, at least you're moving in a proactive manner towards something. That vision is likely going to change in all kinds of different ways. Okay, and I could use myself as example here right now. However, what I would prefer to do is say to each and every one of you that wherever you are at right now, start to think about how you want to feel on a day-to-day basis. Okay. And then step into feeling that way. Also, too, if people are saying something positive about you, step into being that person for yourself that others are seeing. Because these are
Yeah.
pieces. Go ahead, speak to that.
Sorry, you speaking my language here.
I know.
Exactly. I'm like, yes, yes. It's embodying that first and feeling that certainty first and being that person, like then stepping forward. And you said something and I wanted to comment and it'll come back to me. Sorry.
Okay. It's also to when you are comfortable starting to be you, living in the awareness, being in the present moment, recognizing that your days are sevens versus threes, sevens and higher, you will start to energetically be moving in a direction that your soul has been attempting to drag you into alignment with for some time, and now you're in the right alignment to actually start to see the potential that you as a human being actually may have. And now this is the part, some people come by this very naturally at a very young age. It's shut down or they blossom, right? Other people find this out at a far later date and then they blossom or they choose not to step into it as well. So we all have choices and decisions. I'm a choice and decide yes. I'm a jump in, ask questions later type of person. And where I am today versus 6 years ago, they don't measure at all. There's no, it's like, if you hadn't have been along for the journey, you wouldn't have recognized everything I had to go through to get to where I am now.
I
Having
think
said that, the
for
potential.
for so many. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And when I
And
say,
can
go
I
ahead.
add something to the
Yes.
vision? Sorry.
No,
Can I
I
add
don't
something?
apologize.
You were saying that your vision will expand and you don't need to have it all nailed down, which is so true. And also, we always need to add, I think, the all better, because we can limit our vision. Whereas if you always tack on, this is my vision or better, I'm allowing space within that for the universe to expand that, because maybe I can't see a big enough vision for me. And as we step into that energy, our vision grows and we see what's really possible. We see, or more of what's possible, but we always leave space for that or better.
Yeah,
So you're not putting a cap on anything.
exactly. So this is this is another really, really important tool that Jenny has just given you. This or something better. This or better. I opened up our grounding with the I am open with no expectations, no limitations. That's the one that I breathe into because that's something that really, for myself, created the trajectory of where I am now and on. This or something better gives the energy, the space to come in and deliver something better. Instead of just putting out there, this is what I want. Well, when you put out there, this is what I want, then you just put also a boundary around it that this is what you want. It's really difficult for something with a boundary on it to be delivered in that exact manner. And you will likely
Exactly.
have a difficult time being satisfied.
Yeah, it's always the all better, the expansive, we're in an expanding universe too. And as we grow, our vision expands. It's always leaving that space for growth, and things can shift. I thought, okay, it's going in this direction, but actually it's there. That's more. That's even more aligned. As we step in, we're getting more information, and new things are dropping in.
Yeah, yeah. Alan put something very powerful in the chat, which I'd like to share. A body in motion tends to stay in motion. whereas a body at rest tends to stay at rest until acted upon by an outside force. Now, I want you to also to recognize force versus power. You are in your own power if you are a body in motion, because it's staying in motion, versus if an outside force are those people that are pushing and prodding you. And that's where we get caught up in it's this person's fault, it's that person's fault. That's that force thing happening. Right?
And also that's where we build resistance, because we're like, no, I'm not going to be pushed around. And then you've got this whole resistance instead of just being in your flow.
Yeah, beautiful. Jenny, I am just, I've known you now for a little while, and I just I love getting together with you because, like, you've heard both of us say, oh my gosh, right? We're in such alignment, truly.
No, likewise, Sandra. It's amazing talking to you. I'm like, oh, yes, that's exactly. I could be saying that. It's lovely.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much, Jenny.